What is up? What is up, everybody? I am back. I had my man Pat Precourt held me down last week for the weekly Wednesday wisdom, but I am Justin Colby, so I'm ready to knock your socks off with some great content. As always, I want you to engage. Hello, Facebook family. For those of you who are on Facebook watching, Smart Academy group, I am here for the weekly wisdom. For those of you guys who are on the GoToWebinar, what's up? Give another minute or two as we actually, for the first time, I think, in Wednesday Weekly Wisdom history, started before, a minute early. So if you can actually imagine that, Justin Colby started a minute early, maybe has never happened ever. So this is a first. It is in the record books, as they would say. So I'll give everyone a couple more minutes. For those of you that are on GoToWebinar, let me know you hear me. Let me know you see me. Tell me the color of my shirt so I know that we're all good. And then we can get rocking and rolling. What's going on, Joe? And it is actually a gray shirt, but I guess it comes off really dark here in the camera. So, but right on. What's up, Joe? Dennis, what's happening? All right. Looks like the technology. Facebook, let me know you hear me. Let me know you see me. We're all good, man. We're all good. What is up? All right. What I request from you guys each and every week, we do these live calls. I want this to be engaging. I want you to comment. I want you to ask questions. I want you to engage with me. That is why we do this. For most of you, you guys also have coaching calls with your coaches. This is just an added value that we give you every single week. So take advantage of these calls. We record them. We put them up on Smart Academy for those of you that have Smart Academy. But if you do not, still get on the call, engage with me, ask me questions, even if it's not pertaining to the subject matter at hand. Make sure you're asking questions that you need to get answers to. That is why I'm here. Dennis, right on. You're doing good. So I want this to be engaging. Take advantage of this. It's part of what you already have, the community that we offer. So make sure to take advantage of us doing these calls every Monday, the Mindset Mondays with Pat Precourt, every Wednesday with the Wednesday Weekly Wisdoms with myself, Justin Colby. And so take advantage of this and let us help you guys get to the next level. What's up, Ruth Parker? How are you, girl? I see you on Facebook. All right. Today, some of the Facebook guys, I titled the video. Some of the Facebook guys understand that we're going to be doing 5 communication techniques with sellers today. So I want you guys to know how to speak to sellers, know how to talk to sellers, know how to ask questions, and everything that goes into speaking with a seller. So with that being said, I want to just jump right into it. There's going to be 5 techniques I'm going to talk about today, and let's jump into the first technique I want to talk about. Maurice, what's going on, dude? I call it redirecting, but it's basically question-based selling. Question-based selling is very, very advantageous. It's funny that I planned on doing this call, and so I have notes. I actually sat down last night and wrote up notes. It was such a thought-provoking idea about preparing for this call. I actually had a training this morning with my team talking about these very similar subjects, which was very fruitful for them. So question-based selling is something that in any industry you're going to hear of that. If you've ever written or read a book pertaining to selling, negotiating, they talk about framing and controlling the conversation. Well, the best way you can frame and control the conversation is by asking questions, okay? And so part of what that means is if you're talking to them like I'm talking to you guys, and you're not really controlling any type of conversation. But if you're asking them certain questions and rebutting their questions with questions, you actually start to control the conversation. And sometimes that's not natural, right? Sometimes if you get asked a question, it's easier for us to simply give an answer, right? So if they say, what question do I have? Are you going to steal my house? Are you going to lowball me today? Are you going to give me a lowball offer? Stuff that we traditionally hear, right? Well, instead of saying, well, I don't know who you've been dealing with, but that's not what we do, or whatever. Instead of what you think should be said, the way to control the conversation is to answer a question with a question, saying, well, what do you mean by that? And then shut up, right? And if you just shut up, a lot of times your question to their question will allow them to open up to you, right? So if you say, what do you mean by that? They can say something like, well, before you got here today, I spoke to another investor who came by, and they gave me an offer of $125,000, and I almost kicked them right out of my house. They just want to steal my home from me. Well, now what? Now all of a sudden I realize $125,000 is completely disrespectful to them, that they would get upset at that type of offer. And if I'm at that type of offer, then I have some adjusting to do. And or potentially this is just not going to be a deal that I thought I was able to buy. Maybe I need to figure out a way to pay a little bit more by doing some creative financing with the seller carrybacks and things that I've taught over the weeks. So you asking a question to their question, in the example, they say, are you going to lowball me, or are you going to try to steal my home? Then you simply say, well, what do you mean by that? Another great question to that would be, what would you consider a lowball offer? And just shut up, right? The key here is you need to be so composed that you ask a question and stop talking. Again, not a very natural thing for us to do. We tend to want to over-explain. We tend to want to justify what we're saying or what our offer is. But when you ask a question, you really do have to be quiet and allow them to answer the question, right? And all the questions that you are asking is going to control and frame the conversation to go down the path that you want. Now, you can also have a statement pause question, okay? So by redirecting what's happening, if they make that question to you saying, are you going to lowball me an offer or give me a lowball offer, or are you going to try to steal my home? You can say, well, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but what were you looking to get for your home? So you have a statement right after their question. Not sure what you mean by that. And you have a question, right? So you just want to say, whatever. If they say another, I'm just thinking this out loud with you guys, right? Are you going to lowball an offer? And you say, well, we've been buying homes here for over 8 years now. What would you think would be a lowball offer? Right? So at the end of the day, controlling the frame of the conversation is going to be super, super important. And if you allow them to ask you all the questions, you are out of control. They are controlling your conversation. Okay? So, for example, a training I just did this morning, because it was so top of mind after thinking about this training I was going to do with you guys today, there was two leads came in this morning that there were rentals, right? Both of them actually were rental properties that the homeowner was kind of tire kicking. And so one of the things I told my acquisition team was, when you get to the point of them saying, well, we're not sure whether we want to sell or we want to continue renting, then you want to ask them, right? So a lot of times we're going to think, oh, they're just tire kickers, no motivation. But if you stop asking questions there and just say, okay, well, why don't we follow up in about 2 months and see where we're at then, you lose that battle. So what I was talking to them about is, well, did you ask them, why they bought a rental property, how long they've owned it, what is the thing they like least about having a rental property, what is the thing they like most about having a rental property? Those simple questions can pull out a level of motivation, right? And then it can continue to go down a path of, now, doing this for over 8 years and buying well over 500 homes here in Phoenix, we have seen and gone through a lot of different stuff, and I'm guessing the reason you have a rental property is because you're looking for a return on your investment, right? It's a good investment tool, it's safe, you get a good return on it. But I also am guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, that you probably don't like being a landlord too much and dealing with the issues, but you do like the income. let them say it, and then you can talk about a whole nother bevy of motivation, which would be, well, what if I can continue paying you a return on your investment for the next 3 to 5 years without you having to be the landlord or have any type of landlord responsibilities and management? How would that sound to you, right? Now, the reason why I bring that up is because when people are tire kicking, they don't really know what even to ask. They're not that motivated, or they're just coming off that way, right? Because they're keeping their cards close to their chest. So by you simply asking questions, making a couple of assumptions, and then letting them know, correct me if I'm wrong, you're framing the conversation to go down a path that you want it to go down, okay? So, you know, it's very, very important for you to be able to frame, excuse me, frame the conversation the way that you want to by controlling it and asking the question. So, number two, right? Number two way to communicate to a seller is, you know, opposites attract. So, let them say something to them that they don't expect, that they are thinking, and you overcome the objection before they can even ask it, right? So I wrote down just opposites attract, because you're saying something opposite than they think you're going to say, right? You know, in this market, Phoenix, there's a lot of investors, right? And what I'll say to that, and why I bring that up, is because a lot of times they'll say, oh, I've heard this before, I've seen it before, and blah, blah, blah. So we come from a different angle, and we say, okay, well, I'm going to trick you a little bit. I'm going to say something that you don't expect me to say, something like, hey, Mr. Seller, you know, I'm not certain we're really going to be the best buyer for you, quite frankly. And so my first question to you is, why wouldn't you just call a realtor and list it on the market? What? Doesn't that sound counterintuitive to what we want to do? Doesn't that kind of take their gusto out of their, well, I think we're just going to list it? I already said it to them. I'm the one that brought the idea of, why don't you do the repairs that you need to do and list the property? I put that in their brain, and the whole time they're thinking to themselves, oh, I'm sure this guy's just going to lowball me, and I probably can get more money if I just list it, right? So now I'm saying something opposite to what they think I'm going to say. It, again, reframes that conversation. It gets me back into control and allows them to open up to me. So by me simply saying, hey, I'll be honest, I don't know if I'm the right buyer for you, so let me ask you a question. Any particular reason why you haven't done the repairs and just list it yourself? Now, A, it's a question for them to give an answer to, but two, or B, I'm already pre-framing that they're going to have to do repairs on the property. So now they can say, yeah, I don't really have enough money to do the repairs. I was thinking about listing it, but then, you know, I don't have a lot of money to do the repairs, and so I just don't know if I would be able to, you know, list it for the number I want. Boom, right? You got them right there. Now we're having a conversation. Okay, now you're interested. So let me ask you, you know, to continue that, let me ask you, what is the most important part besides the price about selling your home? Again, price aside, what is the most important part to you about selling your home? What's going on, Jeff and Belinda? And I start to continue down this price or this path, because at the end of the day, it might not come down to price. It might be their roof is leaking. It might be their home is so damaged and so torn up that it's almost unlivable. It might be that they're squatters in their rental home and their family members, literally a deal this week, family member or sister of the owner of the home was living in there. The family situation is not good. She just wants to get it out without having to evict her sister. We said, we'll do all the eviction process, so we're going to buy the home at a pretty deep discount, and we're buying it at a deep discount because we're going to actually evict the sister, so they don't have to go through that. But it wasn't priced. We literally went from a $125,000 purchase price to a $105,000 purchase price. That's roughly 18% discount, which is huge, right? And the $125,000 number was acceptable to us, right? But now she wants us to do the eviction. She wants us to. So, okay, at that point, then I'm going to ask for a deeper discount because my money costs money, right? So going down this path, putting words into their mouth of they want to give you a rebuttal, They want to let you know that they can get top dollar. They want to tell you. Well, you tell them that you already know what they're going to tell you. Follow me on that? You tell them you already know what they're going to tell you. So by opposites attract, by putting into their mind that you already know what they're going to come back with a rebuttal, now they get to open up. Okay, well, I guess I don't have money for a listing. I don't have this. I didn't want to pay realtor commissions. They then get to really voice why they have no motivation to list this property. Okay? If it's a rental property, right, and you're talking, again, using the examples that I had this morning with my team, and, you know, if they're like, yeah, I'm just not sure whether it's going to be a good, or I'm not sure whether I want to hold it and continue renting it or just sell it, say to them, well, it sounds like it's a pretty good rental for you, so why wouldn't you just want to keep it? Basically, they're going to be like, wait a minute, aren't you trying to buy my property? You're telling them or saying to them something opposite of what they're expecting, and it changes and completely changes the conversation, because then it allows them to give you real reasons for not holding it. Okay, where if you just come at them with price and cap rate and making it a good rental and making sure you get a good ROI and blah blah blah, that might not get anywhere in the conversation. You might not be able to dig out any more motivation. But to get them to a point that you're saying something that they're not expecting, you're getting them back on their heels. And if you get them back on your heels, you're in complete control, right? Just like a boxer, just like a UFC fighter, just like, you know, any, you know, that type of situation, you want them back on their heels because now you're in massive control. They have no balance, right? Same thing in that kind of conversation, right? So I call opposites attract. You give them something that is so opposite from what they are expecting, it brings you closer to getting to where you want to be. Okay, 3, the classic takeaway, right? The classic fear of loss. This is classic in sales, and it's very, very good in this realm, right? So we already reviewed this, which could be the opposites attract also, or the reverse psychology, you could say it. But hey, I might not be the best offer for your home. I might not be your highest offer. And you're taking away your offer before they even have a chance to see it. You haven't even given them a number or an offer, and you're already letting them know, hey, it sounds like you have a good rental property. I don't know if I would be the best offer for you. And you be quiet. You don't say more. Don't over-explain. Less is more in sales, right? Less is more negotiating. So if someone says, hey, I'm looking to sell my rental property, but I might just keep it and blah, blah, blah. Hey, listen, I'm just going to always shoot you straight. I might not be the perfect buyer for you. And be quiet. See what they say. Take it away before you even offered it. Before you even say, here's what I could pay for your home, just let them know. It might not even be worth our time to give you an offer, because I might not be your highest offer, right? I might not be able to reach the price. You might as well just fix it up and list it. That type of comment and then being quiet will then allow them to maybe voice some of their motivation. Well, you know, I was thinking about listing it, but I know I need to repair my roof. I need a new roof. I need a new AC. So I actually wanted to call you first because, you know, I don't feel like spending $10,000 for a new roof. I don't feel like spending $6,000 for a new AC. If you say, I might not be your best option here, you might as well just fix it up and list it. Again, this all kind of falls under number 2 as well, but it also is a typical sales strategy where you're taking away your offer before they even have it, right? This is the typical fear of loss. Saying something like, I'm not sure I can buy it. Can you tell me more? Hey, Mr. Seller, okay, great, thank you for giving me a call. I was looking at the property. I'll shoot you straight. I'm not even sure I can buy your property. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? You're taking your offer away before you offered it, right? So, again, the takeaway, the fear of loss, you know, making sure that they understand, giving them the thought of, hey, you might get a higher dollar amount if you just put in some money to the property. Why don't you just do that? they're going to be boggled, right? No one talks to sellers like that. No one thinks to talk to sellers in a manner of giving them the idea before they have it and then saying, I probably can't even get to the number you want anyways. Why don't you just go ahead and put money into the property and sell it? That type of takeaway is very, very big. And lastly, something like this, I'm not so sure there's a match here. If there's something you're not telling me, right? If I'm kind of getting the feeling that maybe this isn't going to the place where you want, if you can tell me something that maybe can help us bring us closer, I'd love for you to offer that up. Otherwise, I don't know if there's going to really be a match here. I don't know if we're really going to be able to get to the proper place where it's a win-win for both of us. So is there anything you can maybe tell me that can help me get there for the greater good? Follow me there? You're telling them, I don't know if this is going to work out to make it a win-win. So I don't know if we're really on the same page. So is there anything you can tell me that you're looking for to maybe see if we can get on the same page? Again, the takeaway, really, really key component. And then in sales, number 4 is going to be something that is also very, very traditional, is minor commitments. You always want to get minor commitments. So I've been working with my team about 3 types of minor commitments, right? One is money, of course. The other is knowledge and awareness. And the other is going to be time. Okay, time, money, and knowledge, awareness, market conditions, so on and so forth. And if you can start to get certain minor commitments, right? Oh, you need to talk to your wife. Okay, so now it's a timing thing. Well, let me do this. I'm happy for you to talk to your wife, but can you give me the commitment back that we're going to talk today at 5 o'clock so we can come to a resolution? Can you give me that commitment? Now you're making them commit to furthering this conversation, right? You're making them commit to being in the game with you. And that's a timing thing, right? By the end of today, can you commit that we're going to talk again so we can continue to further this conversation? That type of commitment helps them continue to be engaged in your conversation, right? A comment like this. I understand you need to think about it. I understand you're going to talk to other investors. All I need to know at this time is that you and I agree upon the price, and by the time the day's over, we're going to have a resolution to this. Can I get you to commit to that? Minor commitments. You're just saying by the time today's over, we're going to have a resolution. You're not making them sign the paperwork. This isn't the big commitment. You're not making them cut a check or close escrow, right? You're getting minor commitments. No half commitments, right? Don't let them weasel their way out of it, right? We want them to be all in. We want them to be in the game like you're in the game. So no partial commitments. Hey, what do you think if maybe we can get you, let's jump on a call in 2 months? That's not what we're looking for here, right? We're looking full-blown commitments, minor commitments all the way along, focusing on timing, focusing on price, focusing on understanding the process, understanding the paperwork. Hey, let me say this. I would like to buy your home. If I come by tomorrow at 2 o'clock, are you prepared to go ahead and review the paperwork and move forward? Can you give me that commitment? Now it's just about the process and knowledge of reviewing the paperwork, right? So you're going for minor commitments all the way along the sale, and then boom, you're going to hit them with the close, right? But along that line, you need to be talking to them and getting minor commitments all the way around. And then lastly, number 5 is always set proper expectations, okay? Always set proper expectations. Saying things like, hey, I'm not so sure we're going to be your highest offer, but we are very solution-oriented. And if we can work something out that provides you value and we can get close to a number that's acceptable, are you able to make a commitment today that we can go ahead and move forward with the paperwork? Perfect, right? Not sure I'm going to be your highest offer, setting proper expectations. With that understanding, we're very solution-oriented, and if there's other things, a part of this transaction that I can help with, I'd like to do so to make there be enough value for you to sell me your home at an agreed-upon price. Can I get your commitment that if we can do that, we'll be able to get the paperwork done today. We'll be able to open up escrow. We can get the deal done today, right? That's the type of proper expectations you need to set with them. Hey, listen, at the end of the day, I'm an investor, so I'm not going to pay retail. I hope you understand that. Now, I don't need to get rich on every home I buy, but it is an investment for me, so I need to have some sort of return on my investment. So just understand, I'm not going to be able to pay retail. With that said, Mr. Seller, what is the most important part about selling your home besides price, right? Now, again, you're engaging, you're asking questions, questions-based selling, and you have set proper expectations for them to realize you're an investor, you need to make certain levels of margin, and you're not going to be paying retail. Okay, so that's the 5. That's the 5 basic foundational points that you want to go into every conversation. Okay, so I'm going to review them. Number 1, redirecting question-based selling. Always be sure to be asking a question. Even when they ask you a question, ask a question in return to continue that conversation. Are you going to be stealing my home? Are you going to be giving me a lowball offer? What would you consider a lowball offer? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Question-based selling. Ask a question to a question. The opposites attract technique, which I call, reverse psychology is another kind of along the lines of reverse psychology. Hey, listen, I'm just curious. Any particular reason you're not putting in some repairs and listing it on the market? Which you know is in their head. I'm considering selling. I thought I'd call you, but also I'm thinking about listing it, right? Opposites attract technique, right? I'm going to go try to show them that I'm going to say something opposite to what they think I'm going to say. That's number 2. The classic takeaway, the fear of loss. Hey, I'm not sure I'm going to be your best option. I'm just shooting you straight. And let them say something. Well, I'd still like to hear what you have to say. Hey, I'd still like to hear an offer. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. He still is engaging, right? I'm not so sure we're going to reach an agreed upon price here. You might just want to fix it up and list it. Let him or her say what they're going to say, right? The takeaway. Hey, I am absolutely not going to be giving you a retail offer as I'm an investor. Let them say what they're going to say. Again, the takeaway. I don't feel like we're really on the same page here. I feel like we could do a little bit better. I'm not so sure there's going to be a match here, quite honestly. But before we just kind of throw our hands in the air and realize that we can't put something together, is there anything you want me to know or any questions you have for me to see if we can make this a win-win for both parties? Again, you're taking it away. I'm not sure that there's really going to be a match here. Kind of sensing there's not. But is there anything that you want me to know to see if we can put something together? Number 4, always get minor commitments. Minor commitments can be around timing, they can be around pricing, they can be around their knowledge of the process, paperwork, the market. You want to be getting minor commitments all along the process of your conversations until you're ready to go for a close. Minor commitments. And number 5, setting the proper expectation. I'm a real estate investor. I need to make a certain level of income / return on my investment. That being said, I don't need to get rich off every property I buy, but I need some type of return. With that being said, I'm likely not going to be your highest offer. And I'm not going to pay retail. I just want that to be known. I might not be your highest and best offer. Proper expectations. Then you can continue with your question-based selling. You're going to be using 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5 of these in every single one of your conversations. These are the foundation to your negotiating. These are the foundation to you speaking with sellers. And so you need to get good at these. Again, this video is recorded. Go ahead and find it on the Weekly Wisdoms. Any questions for my Facebook family and or anyone on the GoToMeeting? Great approach. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You have to get their why, right? Christian, what's up, man? What's happening, buddy? Any questions? All right, guys. That is our weekly Wednesday wisdom. I am Justin Colby, and again, I will see you next week on Wednesday. That is all I got for today, and we are out of here. Peace.